his art kept changing over the years, including geometric paintings with bold, contrasting colors, and later large, colorful, abstract sculptures. That was the kind of work he was doing when I spoke with him the second time in 2000. Let's get back to that interview. Was there ever a point in your life where you said to yourself, I wish that I had studied representational technique and that I had more of that technique available to me?
I didn't understand representational painting very much, and I probably wouldn't understand representational technique up to a point. But when I, maybe 30 years later, when I saw in the Capitoline Museum Caravaggio, St. John the Baptist, the young St. John the Baptist, it really knocked me out, and I really liked it, and it was very real. And the realist technique, I should have said, oh my God, but I can't do this, and I should have been very worried about it. But actually the effect was the opposite. It was a kind of incredible euphoria about saying, actually that's it, that's what painting is about. And I realized that Caravaggio's success and what made this painting beautiful, which was its sense of being very real, being very physically present, had to do with the fact, had actually nothing to do with the technique, but with the fact that Caravaggio worked very hard at painting and that he had wanted to make a painting. And once I realized that, the goal is what counts, what you intend to do, what you want to make, making things pictorial is what's important. The technique you use to make the pictoriality manifest, to make it successful, doesn't really matter. You get the job done whichever way you can. They never had a problem in the caves in Lascaux or wherever, Altamira. They got the job done.
When you were a student, were you ever afraid that a teacher would think, or fellow students would think that you were a fraud or something because you had skipped that whole step in the evolution of mastering representational technique?
Fortunately, I wasn't a particularly successful student, so all of the other students were more successful or seemed better at it. But I wasn't worried. I mean, the issue of being a fraud, that just never came up, because, I worked, I was in the studio every day. I was there 2 or 3 hours a day. All the other students who were better and had this kind of technique, I never saw them there. They came for 1 or 2 hours a week. I was there 9 or 10 hours a week. So, I know who's there and who's not. It doesn't matter what the technique is, it's what the effort is that goes into making art.
Have you ever been through a period where you felt that you were at an artistic dead end, and you knew that a series you were working on or a direction you were exploring was finished, and you didn't know where you were heading yet?
Mm-hmm. A couple of times, yeah.
What did you do during that interim where you weren't sure what was next, but you knew what you had been doing was finished?
I pretended it wasn't a problem.
Why? Why pretend? Was that for your own benefit, or so the people around you wouldn't lose confidence?
Right, or for everybody, yes. Yeah, art is a little bit like a performing art, and if performers, athletes or singers or performers, whatever it is, if you communicate to those around you or outside of you a lack of confidence, you might just as well be dead. They thrive on your confidence.
So you got to keep that to yourself if there's any doubts?
Yes, it's better, yeah. One thing I learned early on was never to, no matter how bad my painting was, never to say anything bad about my own work.
How'd you learn that?
Because you make a casual remark to a friend about you don't like this part of your painting, some little trivial thing, and then a couple of weeks later you'll hear it from a museum director that painting is a complete failure.
Well, there's also a real stock market factor in arts, where like somebody's stock, the actual price of their paintings fluctuates, goes up and down over the course of the career, depending on, I guess, a lot of different variables. Has that been something that's that you found more amusing or disturbing? That kind of stock market?
No, it's just a reality, and it's a struggle. I've been up and down, and it's still the same. It hasn't actually really changed very much for me. It's still very hard to keep it all together. I could blame myself, I suppose, if I didn't blow so much money or if I didn't spend so much money making art. But in order to do what I want to do, which is basically make art, it's a struggle to raise the money, really, to pay my own way. Without a patron, it's quite hard.
I wonder if it's okay with you to ask you about your finger.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
You have one finger that...
Yeah, I have a crushed left hand. Yeah. I have one finger is half, and a couple of the other fingers are damaged. Yeah, it's a crush injury from when I was 10 years old.
What happened?
A concrete urn in the yard was toppled over onto my hand. That's all. It was a crush injury.
And were the parts of your finger amputated on the spot, or was that
No,
when
when it's crushed, it turns black. I mean, and eventually they had to cut it off. Yeah, I went to the hospital. Yeah.
And you do a lot of physical work. It's never interfered with it?
Yeah, but I'm right-handed, so it's not.
And it's your left hand that was crushed. So you're okay with that?
It's not a problem.